For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast is fueled by the Man Shake. I lost 30 kilos in 10 months using this meal replacement shake. If you want to support the show and max in my weight loss journey, or to even start your own, click the link in the description below. The Man Shake. Real blokes, real results.
For the Players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast. Over 40 years of playing PlayStation and 6+ years in the games meeting. But I want to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join us as the conversation happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can watch us record this show live. You can get in the chat. You can become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you're on the podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopcultures, as well as our merchandise store, podcast.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. How goes it, man?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I like the new hairdo.
Yeah, so after spending the entirety of last week trying to get a haircut, place where I generally go, very, very busy. My kid has this thing where she doesn't like loud noises. So I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this with my kid in tow. And then I'm like, on the Friday, Ali and I went out. And I'm like, oh, Mike, can you get a haircut? And there's like 12 people waiting. I'm like, oh, I'm not getting a haircut today. But I managed to get one on the next day. Nice.
Do you feel better? Do you feel cleaner?
So my numbers are down this week purely because I cut my hair off.
Yeah. Oh, good. There's a strong weight of hair removed from the head.
Thinned it all out, shaved it all off.
Nice.
Cut it all. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you walk in and the hairdresser's like, what do you want? I'm like, I just want you to cut low enough that the curls aren't there anymore.
That's like every time I ask. I ask very much. I need you to thin it. I need you to cut it so then it's I can at least do something with it again. And style, and so that way I can style my hair like it's 2006, and I know exactly what you want.
I might just get rid of the curls. That's all I want. I don't want half of the length gone because it's all curls.
Yeah,
just get rid of it.
Curls are the worst, man. Yeah. I remember someone telling me they're like, "Oh, people love curly hair." I'm like, fucking curly hair blows. Yeah. It blows hard. Hard. How was your week? How has your week been otherwise?
Not too bad. I'm still trying to get into the new work schedule, so my sleeping's still all over the place. But apart from that, it's actually been pretty hectic. I had a house inspection this week because I'm still renting. So this will hopefully be the last house inspection before we move into our new house.
How's that all going, by the way? I haven't asked in the longest time.
So it's been a nightmare. So we got an email from the vendor solicitors earlier this week saying we expect settlement to be mid-June. Early July. So I sent that off to my finance guy because he's applied for all these government grants for us. And he's like, well, let's hope it's before the 13th of June. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on one of the grants. And I'm like, that sucks. But, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, as long as we get out and get our own house, it's all that really matters. So hopefully, fingers crossed, mid-June, early July. And then this time next year, it should all be done.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, that should be good. I spent most of my week cleaning.
Lame.
Just getting the house tidy.
Punching microphones and things.
So for 3 solid days, my house smelled like a public pool.
Would you just bleach everything?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, my mum's like, cleaning showers are the worst, but I've got a foolproof method that's very low effort, low cost, Go to the supermarket.
High chemical, by the sound.
Yeah. Go to the supermarket, buy one of those home brand 3-liter bottles of bleach and just tip it down the walls and then walk away. Come back 3 hours later, turn the shower on, spotless.
Does it work?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here scrubbing the shower like some sort of pleb.
No, just tip the whole thing in there, just around the top of the wall, and it just all runs down, and then you're done. You just walk away. It cleans itself. Costs you $2 and like
No time.
and like
3 hours,
like,
but yeah.
and like 2 minutes of actual time.
Damn, you might have it. I think.
Yeah. So shout out to mum. Work smarter, not harder.
That's right. That's the way I go about it.
What about you? How's your week been?
My week itself was fine, but my weekend has been amazing.
Just remember, PlayStation Pod.
I know. So
what's been happening?
For
How
that,
was your weekend?
good. So we're recording on a Sunday, right? Because we had some things come up. So, I've had a bit of a run around weekend, which is cool. So, the big thing for this weekend is I went to Melbourne for the first time in forever. What feels like forever. Like going there, walking around the city at night, and it's just weird because there is like people everywhere. Like the density seems so high. Even though I'm all brilliantly vaccinated, I'm like, there's so many people here. But I went to Melbourne with. I went and saw Deathmatch Down Under. So friends of Gem and mine. Their name is Jay. They own the company, and they've been trying to get us to go for a while. And for whatever reason, things just never lined up. So when this one was coming up, and it was a 2-night event. It was Friday and Saturday. It was the tournament to crown the first ever deathmatch, deathmatch down under heavyweight champion. And we knew people in the event. So one of them being Jem's friend Richie Taylor. He's a local Melbourne wrestler. Everyone, if you know the indie scene, you know Richie Taylor. He and Jem went to school together. So there's an investment in there.
Yeah.
So I bought tickets for the Friday, being like, cool. I don't know whether I can do the Saturday, but I know I can do the Friday. We'll go with that, right? So then I get a message from Jay. He's like, hey, what if I spring tickets for Saturday? What can you come? I'm like, well, the problem is not the cost, it was the time. So I also had the memorial, a different memorial for my grandfather who passed away a couple of weeks ago with my mum down in Phillip Island. So I went to the show on Friday night, drove to Phillip Island, did the thing, drove from Phillip Island back to Melbourne, went to a second wrestling show, and then drove home. So as you can tell, like my voice is a little bit fucking weird because I just spent all yesterday screaming and all Friday just fucking yelling and having a big heckle time. However, it was so good. Like I feel energized. I just feel happy. Like I had 2 days of awesome, like going out and doing things and just kind of. I think one of the things
you had some normalcy back in your
one
life.
of the big things I talked about when we were in when we were in the key part of the lockdown, right?
Yeah.
I talked about the idea of collective happiness and how collective happiness was sort of gone, and it's taking its time to come back, and going to, like, by collective happiness, I mean like being in the same room with someone, having a shared event and vibing off each other and just feeling that complete sense, right? So going to this Deathmatch Down Under show, because the entire company has such a positive, inclusive, supportive feel. So they're very, very prominent and supportive of the LGBTQIA, the rainbow community. They are super strong in terms of the indigenous community. And like there is complete no dickhead policy. And wrestling is full of fucking dickheads. So, but to have none of that bullshit heckling, no one's yelling slurs. Everyone's just like, people are talking shit. But it's just that toxic free feeling. So everyone's there. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone's like, yeah, man, we know why we're here. It's to watch some awesome wrestling and to like have a good time. And that shit was infectious. Like, I know it's a horrible example to use in a pandemic, but like it was so good. Like the qualifiers were fantastic on the Friday, sort of watching everyone step up. And because of this championship belt, it's not the men's championship. It's not the women's championship. It is just a championship. So we're seeing intergender matches. We're seeing just fucking chaos, right? And it was brilliant. And then they had 2 death matches as well. One on the Friday, one on the Saturday. The Friday was a cricket death match. So it was just, as long as it was attached to a cricket bat, it counted. So there was like cricket bats with pins in it, one with just 4 staplers screwed to it. Then there was one with cheese graters on it, and one literally in the middle of the room with a cactus strapped to it. Like, it was stuff. And then the second one was a championship match for a death match. International company's death match title, which was a glass crunch death match. So there was just panes of glass everywhere. So people just launching through the glass and it's shattering, it's exploding. And like I said, even in this moment where there are people that are literally putting their lives in absolute risk. Like, it's all safe, of course, but like, there's always a risk when you run through a pane of glass. There's always a risk when you get hit with a giant thing covered in fucking pointy, sharp things.
Yeah.
Like, even with all that, and everyone's like, oh my God, there was nothing but fucking good energy in that space. And I guess that's something that I just needed, because I feel reinvigorated. I feel, not liberated is not the right word, but I just feel fucking positive.
Yeah.
And I have, like, admittedly, I've not really felt this level of positivity in a good while. And like, this is just hit me. I was with good people. I had a good time. Like, it just ticked all the boxes of an incredible weekend. And mind you, there was a couple of photos taken on me and I looked fucking mint. You know what I'm saying? I was just feeling good, looking good, and having an absolute fantastic time. It was good. And for those that don't know, I think did I mention last week? I mentioned last week that we are getting a new table.
This was right before you ran through your own door.
Yeah, so. Yeah. We'll get an update on that too. So, as I mentioned, we are getting a new desk, care of Ethan from Tag Mods, which means this desk has to go away. Now, the positive thing that I noticed is that the wood that I saw was used Friday, same wood, same bullshit shelving wood, chipboard bullshit as this desk. So, looks like someone can go through this desk if push comes to shove, and I might be pushed and shoved into this desk. But yeah, so I'm in a really good space right now.
That's good. It's good to hear.
I can't explain it. It feels absolutely fantastic.
I think this is probably going to be me. Obviously not next week because I'm not here next weekend, but the weekend after, because next weekend I'm going to Sydney and going up for a Bucks party. It's going to be, I think I'm going to have something similar.
Yeah, just kind of, just sharing good company, having good times, just feeling that energy and that vibe. I know that's such a fucking weird hippie thing to say, but like, that's 100% part of it.
After what feels like a year-long lockdown where, you've had such insignificant social contact with so many people.
But like, I have gone to local wrestling shows. But it's just, there was a difference here. Yeah. Like, the local wrestling one is cool, but this just had something different to it. And I do feel that it's that because everyone was there. It's just there's an agreed positivity. Yeah, and I think that's part of it as well. And I'm a big fan, and I'm probably gonna go there a lot if I can. Just if I could bottle that energy, oh fuck, I would. But anyway, update from last week. So if you guys don't remember, at the end of the show last week, and for those that were still here on the stream, Max and I got locked in this room when the mechanism in the door handle shattered and we couldn't get out. I have since had the manly action of replacing the door handle, and now we are unlockable. I say that. I can't verify it.
Well, I mean, I closed the door. The door did work, so
yeah,
we'll see.
So I did have to get the old screwdriver set out, and and do look, masculine-y. Very cool. Nice. But yeah, so hopefully we don't get locked. We don't get locked out. But that does beg the question, Max. Have you played anything this week? What have you been playing?
This week I have dived deep back into Destiny. So obviously Vault of Glass raid, the original Destiny 1 raid released.
Isn't it free?
Back on Destiny 2. Yeah, so Destiny 2 is free to play. Kind of free to play.
Yeah.
The base game itself is free to play, and then you pay for the...
No, but isn't the Vault of Glass free for the moment?
No, so it's part of the new season of the Splicer.
Okay.
So they bought it back from Destiny 1. They've this morning, as a time of recording at 3 a.m. local time, it opened up. They did their world's first race where you win a championship belt. Yeah,
belts, brother. Belts are cool.
But it was funny. So a couple of hours before the launch of the raid, the Bungie official Twitter went, "Hey guys, so just to let you know, if you push any of the bosses off the map, you'll be disqualified from the race." Now, I thought originally it was a joke because back in Destiny 1, you could push the bosses off the map, which was hilarious. You didn't have to do any of the mechanics. You didn't have to actually fight them. You just push them off the map. Well, it turns out 7 years later, a similar glitch still exists.
Oh, no. How did they not remove that?
And they're like, you will be disqualified. Well, see, since it was in Destiny 1, since Destiny 2, a lot more shit with knockback capabilities have been added to the game. So they may have patched the old stuff, but now all the new stuff that they've added, obviously they're like, yeah, you're never going to use Vault of Glass again. Turns out they were. And they're like, if you push it off, you're disqualified.
I've had one of those meetings where they're like, all right, so we need to put something in for this new season. What should we do? What about if we put in the Vault of Glass? Like, cool, great idea. People love the Vault of Glass. However.
Yeah. So 24 hours before the launch, they also completely took out a new exotic item from the game. So there's a pair of hunter boots that basically souped up every single class super that you could pick from. So the Arc, the Solar, anything. It just made it way overpowered. And they're like, yeah, we're just removing these from the game for the first 24 hours of the raid. Because that's when the...
they wanted an even playing field, I presume, yeah.
So it got beaten this morning. I think it took 6 hours. So they'll get their little belts.
Yeah.
Kinda cool.
Do you get a belt?
I'm unfortunately not high enough light level to do it yet. So I've been grinding really hard with front of the show Noodle. We've been hitting it hard. Somehow in the 2 weeks, he's already gotten from not playing it at all to higher light level than me. So his grind is way stronger than mine. But I'm kind of back in.
Yeah.
I'm kind of back in. The other games I've been playing, I've checked out Knockout City. So that launched on Friday. It's free for the first 10 game. It is a full game trial. It's also, I believe, free if you have EA Play, which I do. So I kind of just got it anyway, which was nice. And the premise is it's a 3v3, 2v2, 1v1 dodgeball game. And it is so much fun. So I originally thought it was 4v4. So I got 3 of my mates to download it. We all jumped on together and I'm like... yeah, my bad, guys. One of us is going to have to sit out.
Who got kicked?
Well, it turns out you can just play private matches. So we just played 2v2s
nice.
for like 2 hours, learned how to play the game, and then one of us just went, I'm going to go make some food, and we're like, cool, kick. 3 of us got online. We won 5 games straight.
Damn.
And then the lag kicked in.
Oh, shit.
And it was brutal.
Yeah.
So there's servers based in Sydney, so I had like 20 ping, but it was literally unplayable. And it was weird. So there's when you play, we were playing the 3v3 league play or whatever it is. So it's just standard. You have the standard balls and you have one special ball per map. So that could be the cage ball. So that cage ball locks enemies inside the ball and then you can just yeet them off the side of buildings and just score points by killing them, by throwing them off the side. There's the sniper ball, which is basically like a gridiron football. And you charge it up and it's just like a bullet. It just goes so quick. There's the multi-ball. So you pick it up, and then all of a sudden it splits into 3. You can just throw 3 balls in quick succession.
Nice.
And I think the last one's a bomb. The bomb ball. So it's like a hot potato type thing. So it starts counting down as soon as you pick it up. You just throw it backwards and forwards. And when it runs out, it just...
Excuse me.
The game's kind of fun. The controls are a little weird to get used to begin with. So
What makes them difficult?
So there's... lots of parkour in this game. So, you know, we played on PlayStation 5 using backwards compatibility for PlayStation 4. So X is your standard jump. If you push X again in midair, it's not double jump, it's pull out glider.
That's annoying.
But if you push X to jump and then push circle, you do like a twirl and you stay afloat a little bit longer. So it's like a double jump. But triangles also jump.
Huh.
But it's not a proper jump. You do like this front flip jump and you don't jump as high.
So it's more of a dodge jump.
But square is dodge.
Oh.
And then you've got your standard, you know, R2 is throw, L2 is catch. The catching system is basically like a parry from an action game. So if you don't time it right, you get smacked in the face.
Yeah.
You get 2 hit points per life. Once you get hit twice, you die, you respawn. It's first team to 10 knockouts wins.
Yeah.
Really quick games, really good fun. You can also turn yourself into a ball. So if your team doesn't have a ball, you can go into ball form, and your allies can throw you across the map. So that's what we started doing. So at the start, one of us would roll up into a ball, we'd peg them across the map, and then he'd be on the flank.
That's clever.
You can also charge your ally up, and they become a bomb that instantly kills anyone. So you throw them up in the air, and they kind of just like mortar shell straight down.
That sounds way more fun than the game I originally pictured.
I was like cackling for like 3 straight hours. It was just, I had so much fun playing it until the lag kicked in. It was a real shame.
Well, that is literally like the exact opposite of how I imagined Knockout City was going to go. I presumed that it was going to be trash. I just had this, when we saw that original, I think it may have been a state of play, and I looked at it and I was like, nah, dude.
Well, I originally had the same thought. I'm like, because the other game that was similar, I mean, it's different, but the premise is kind of the same. Was like that Disc Jam.
Oh,
it was a PlayStation Plus game, man, like months ago, and I wanted to really get into it. I thought it was going to be my new Rocket League, and it wasn't that good.
No.
This might be.
You reckon?
I had so much fun with this. I mean, I originally went, free for 10 days. Like, what is the harm in downloading it? We'll try it out. If it's crap, uninstall.
It's making me want to download it.
It's so much fun.
So, if you're thinking that Disc Jam was to be on your Rocket League, and now this could be on your Rocket League. Rocket League has this incredible ability to be both difficult and both easy, but also great to master.
Yeah.
Does this have that same energy?
I don't think this skill ceiling is as high as what Rocket League is.
Okay.
So obviously there are times where you're in no-win situations. Like if you get caught 1v3 and they all throw balls at you at the same time, you're only catching one of them, you're getting hit twice.
You can't bonk them?
You can dive into them. So if you use the square dodge button, it also it like punches them. So you can knock balls out of people's hands.
But if it's already airborne, you can't punch it mid-air.
If it's airborne, you can dive into it and you'll knock it out, or you can throw your own ball into it. But if there's 3 coming at you, because you can throw curveballs, lobs, and straight shots.
Okay.
They're just everywhere.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes it hard. So,
Well,
it is very much a team-based game. You can't kind of run in there 1v3 and get out.
Yeah. So does it have like built-in voice communication? So if you're playing with not your friends in voice chat?
Yep. So there's the party chat system. I didn't use it because obviously I was playing in a group of friends, so we just used the PlayStation party system.
Yeah.
But they've got team chat, group chat, because you can party up with up to 8 people in your group, which is weird because there's no 4v4 mode. So I don't understand why it has 1 of 8 when you start a group.
4v4.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's free for another week. It is well worth checking out.
Yeah, I'm certainly dive in and give it a look at, especially with hype like that.
It's also cross-platform. So
that's going to help.
So that helps finding games. I think the most we ever had to wait for a game was maybe like 30 seconds.
That's good.
There is Sydney-based servers, but sometimes they can be a bit jank. But other than that, I had a blast. I played it for like 4 straight hours last night.
Nice.
Yeah. And then finally, the last game I've been playing is at the end of last night's sesh of Dodgeball, I managed to get convinced back into Final Fantasy Online. So I bought another month, and I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 like all day today.
Gross.
Like all day today.
Gross.
I miss it so much. I just don't have the time to play it. With the expansion coming out at the end of this year, we got a release date of November 23rd, I think it is. Okay.
Nice. Okay. I think the only thing I've played this week is Outriders.
Yeah.
Like because I have a Zoom class that I do on a Wednesday, and
it's my Outriders class.
That's when I play Outriders. So I have the headphones and I listen to the conversation, and so I'm involved in the group because it is about I'm studying mental health Cert 4, which is what I do for work anyway. So a lot of what I'm being told is shit that I know from work. Yeah. So I really can kind of phase in and out. So I've just been trying to push the Outriders campaign. Is where I'm at. So I'm just pushing.
So where are you at now? Because last time we checked in, you were still in the forest. Have you gotten?
I think I'm further. Like,
so you're at the desert. You hit the desert yet?
A desert. I don't know. Like, in terms of the map itself, there's not much room on the right-hand side. I'm like, there's like this much room left on the right-hand side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're
In terms of the map, there's nothing left. I've been a bunch of things with monoliths.
Yeah.
I close to the end?
I know exactly where you are. Not really.
Fuck! How much fucking longer is this game?
Okay, once you finish that area, the whole rest of the map opens up.
Oh,
and you just keep going.
Fuck! Because I was right at the end of this screen. I'm like, oh my god, beautiful! It's gonna be fantastic. It's right at the end, and fuck.
There's not. I say you're not even close. There's like 3, maybe 4 missions. Like it's not.
Oh, okay,
it's not
cool.
It's not like you're at 50%. Like
all right, good.
You're in the back end.
You got me really worried because I'm like level 25 or something.
I finished it to level 27.
Okay, but I'm like at what tier though?
8.
Yeah, I'm sitting around tier 7 right now. All right, cool. That's not so bad. But yeah, I'm just pushing my way through that. I still love that game. It's still a blast. Still very, very cool. I haven't dove back into Mass Effect this week. I've mostly just sort of watched a lot of wrestling. So friend of the show, Craig from the Mullet Show, he sort of needed some moral support. His cat has been unwell this week, and he's been kind of very worried about it. So he and I were just watching stuff during the week, just sort of keeping the spirits up.
Yeah,
I haven't checked in the last couple of days, but yeah, everything was on the up and up, so that's good news. You and I have both been playing a redacted game. We can't discuss just yet. I've put like 45 minutes into it. You put a handful of hours.
I've done a couple of hours.
We'll have more to say about that next week. Next week?
Yes,
next week. Let's keep an eye out for that one. That'd be cool. And there's something else cool coming up next week as well.
Yeah, some really cool stuff.
We've got a couple of cool things next week. Damn. I just totally forgot we have a bunch of cool things. Yeah, no, we're hitting in a good window of time right now. We've been very, very lucky in some of the things that we're getting involved with and having access to and putting our hands on. Like shit's good. Shit's very, very good. But that's from memory. That's all I've played. I don't think I've played anything else. I may have gone into Returnal and then I just got mushed again. I was like, "Fuck this game."
Yeah, I did like 1 or 2 runs of Returnal.
Yeah, but are you still trying to get the 6 sun thingies, whatever?
Yeah, I'm literally one away. I've just got to get the one from the last biome, and I can't seem to find it.
You gonna get a guide?
Let's give it the shits. No, boy, I can't get a guide.
Well, a guide will tell you what kind of room it's in.
I know what kind of room it's in. The issue is it's finding that damn room.
Yeah, it's bum. Kids yelling at me. Anyways, before we jump into the news, let's get into this section we call our Get Less Fat Update. So for those that don't know, in 2020, I lost over 30 kilos using a product called the Man Shake. No way. And as I am an ambassador for that product as well, the Man Shake have come on board to help us here for the players in our weight loss journeys. So my journey, I'm sort of in the next phase of it. Max kicked his off at the beginning of this year. We do this section every week to keep us accountable, to let you guys know where we're at so we can continue to be, get pretty for PAX 2021 edition. 2021 edition. How have you been this week, Max?
I don't know my numbers, but I'm wearing pants that I could not fit into at the start of the year, so that's exciting.
I'll take that. Nice.
So, yeah, for the last couple of weeks, I'm at that stage where my numbers aren't really shifting, but I'm noticing, like, in the clothes that I wear.
You're getting the non-scale victory sort of thing, yeah. Yeah, no, I did make some changes this week. So I've talked about making changes recently, and this week it was... Because I had a look at like my previous weigh-ins, and I've come to realize that I've been at a very similar weight since about October of last year. So I hit because I talk about, in 10 months I lost over 30 kilos, and that 10 months was from January through to October. And then my weight has been pretty steady since. Yeah. Now, granted, I've likely lost more fat since I've gone to the gym this year. Because if I look at myself in December, look at myself now, there is a difference. Yeah. However, the scales are the same. So I'm like, well, I need to push that scale down. It's been too long. I need to give it a bit more of an oomph. So this week, I've changed some things. So when I go to the gym now, I'm just doing cardio. So rather than doing half an hour of cardio and then an hour of weights, varying weights, I'm pretty much now just doing about an hour of cardio. Like, all right, the weights can wait a little bit. Let's see if I can get this bump, and then we'll go from there. So I do about an hour of cardio, which is cool. Additionally, I've one of the biggest things hurdles that I've probably had, especially as we head into winter, is portions control. So dinners have always been the thing that's sort of thrown me off. Like my lunch, my breakfast and my lunch is the shake. The snacks have been pretty good, and I talked about how a couple of weeks ago I was reducing my calorie intake anyway. So that means reducing some of the snacks I'm having and the selection of snacks that I'm having. So now the dinners. Well, I think dinners are my weakness. So what I did last week and what I'm doing next week is I'm having the My Muscle Chef meals. So a friend of the show, Ash, who's that fat guy on YouTube, he himself is a Manshake ambassador as well, and I pinched the idea from him shamelessly. I was like, cool, that seems like I want to give that a go. Give that a go too. So there is a bit of a misleading in the scale. So because of not the weekend that we're at right now, last weekend I did kind of splurge a little. So it was a bit more carby intake. So there was a lot of water retention. So I ended up starting the week like a couple kilos heavier than I am. I spent all Monday pissing because of the water hold, and then I ended up losing like a kilo and a half by Tuesday. I was like, nah, I'm just going to start from this one. I don't think that one's legit. But since then, so that I've lost just shy of 2 kilos, I think. So I was 111 on Tuesday, and I'm now 109.4. So the threshold for me is I've been stuck at 110. I've gone a little bit under, I've gone a little bit over, I've gone a little bit under, a little bit over. So for me, it's getting that. So I'm gonna. I went and bought more of those meals, and I've got another week on them. And if I can see another punch again, I'll then go, cool. All right. Well, now I need to know that my problem was portion control, and I'll shift back to my regular meals that I have with my wife and my son. But then just look at keeping them smaller for now. Like I do think I'm slowly hitting my threshold of how much weight I can actually lose, or what the weight is for my body size, my frame size, or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I can push that line a little bit more, that's my plan. So it seems to be pretty successful this week so far. I'll take that as a win. Get excited on that. I'm very, very happy. And as I said, non-scale victories as well.
Yeah.
Looked at some photos fucking yesterday, and I was like, ooh, I'm looking good. So I'm happy with that. Like that's the thing, because that's the other advantage, right? And this is going to sound real fucking weird, but like the one thing that is taking me a long time to comprehend, and I'm also having this weird sort of. This is nothing about PlayStation, by the way. This is completely just introspective me. I'm having this weird sort of identity of self right now. Just my sign, just in general, right? Because I'm in my 30s, and I look back at all these things that most people should have done.
Are you having a midlife crisis?
I am.
Is that what you're trying to say?
But literally, I am. I think I am in some ways. I am. I'm looking back at all these things that people feel as milestones in their life that I haven't done. Now, granted, I have had plenty of milestones, but they're like the big ones, like, married, house, child. I did it all in like a 2-year window, and now it's got nothing left. But like all the things that you're supposed to do when you find yourself in your earlies before you do those big things, I've just never done. And whether it be because I was just too anxious to make those decisions, whether those opportunities never popped up, or because I thought so little of myself, I never put myself out there. And I mean that in terms of physically is certainly part of it, because that connection between physical health and mental health is huge. So, for like only recently am I starting to be like, no, I'm not unattractive anymore. You know what I mean? Like I'm not fucking Dave Chataway over here. He's a friend of mine in the chat who is an incredibly handsome man. But it's like I'm not that. I do look different, and I do look better, and that oddly enough has caused me to, it's altered my perception of myself.
Okay.
And with that has come that ripple effect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because who I believed I was Ryan, the funny fat guy. But that's not me anymore. So,
and you weren't that funny. But...
I know, right? But you know what I mean? Like, if you had to hit a stereotype, that's what I felt. I fit. So here I am now going, what the fuck am I now? Like that's the stereotype that I was like, cool, that's me, that's how I identify, done, problem solved. And like, you know, like there's other, I know that I'm very simplifying what's going on in my head, but that's part of it. So now I'm just kind of like, well, where do I fit in this weird self-assessment, in this identity of self? And, you know, like there's confidence that comes with that. There's also this weird fucking anxiety that comes with it. I am really messed up in the head.
I'm gonna come back now. I'm gonna come back from my holiday next weekend. You're gonna have a motorbike and
yeah. So I'm gonna. How old am I now? 32. I'm gonna have a 15-year-old girlfriend. No. And you know how you always date someone half your age, isn't that part of it? Yeah, I have like a red sports car or something. Yeah, I don't think I'm quite that level of midlife crisis.
Ryan's got a convertible.
Because I've had quarter life. I had what I did in my quarter life crisis when I was 25. Because I just finished uni and I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have any plans. Because like what my original plans were just kind of crumbled. I had this another moment of what the fuck am I going to do? Yeah. And then shit went really well. But yeah, now it's. I was explaining it with Craig. Because where I'm at is this. It is literally a place of privilege. Because have you ever heard of the hierarchy of needs? Yeah. Yeah. If those don't know, it's a pyramid, and the idea is that you need to meet these base minimum requirements as you progress up this pyramid. And down the bottom is your like complete basic necessity survival needs, like fucking warmth, food, water, whatever. I meet that, no worries. I'm very, it's like I live well. Yeah. The next one up is all about community and social engagement and friends and relationships. And I'm pretty good at that. Like I'm meeting those fucking key things. So and because I have like I have a support, I have a reliable job. I'm hitting all these needs. I'm fine. So now I'm stuck in that weird the next level, which is all about introspection and where you fit. And then the top one is like enlightenment. So like, I'm in the most privileged space of the fucking needs. And I'm like, but everything's going so well for me. Why am I sad? That's where I'm at. Anyway. Cool. But if you want to not have this crisis as well, you can. There is a link in the description. It is bit.ly/FTP Manshake, where you too can get on the Manshake if you are so inclined. Lose some weight, and maybe you can feel better and then also worse about yourself in the same moment. Anyway, that's enough about that. Max is getting the section called Inform the Players. We tell you guys what happened this week in PlayStation.
Well, let's kick off with a new Sony patent. So Sony have patented an eSports betting system for its consoles. Well, it did this a couple of years ago, with the documentation outlining a framework whereby odds would be calculated by a player or team's historical performance, allowing users to then bet on their favorites in a variety of ways. The papers outline a number of hypothetical examples with in-play options like, quote, character A gets hit in the next minute, end quote. The idea is that the system is constantly calculating new odds for you to bet on, even while matches are taking place, similar to what a lot of betting apps do for real sports.
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, apparently you can use Bitcoin and stuff as well.
Well, that's something because I did hear that like
cryptocurrency up.
Yeah,
but apparently, you can be able to...
Bitcoin crypto sucks this week. I've lost like 70% of my fucking wallet value this week. Crypto's dying this week. It's killing me.
That's what happens when one person can change the complete discourse of a fucking currency.
But this is concerning because like I feel like unlike real sports, which can also be rigged, this feels like something can be easily rigged.
I mean, it has. Yeah. In the past.
More sports, yeah, big time.
No, I meant like esports as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people throw games.
Yeah. And like, because they, like, I guess it's, they did say it's esports. I'm like, because you can't just bet on your game.
And obviously, Sony's kind of gone all in on esports lately. They
now the purchase of Evo, yeah.
They now own Evo, or are big supporters of that anyway.
They are
I'm pretty sure
owners.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they, yeah. Yeah,
it's
what do you reckon? So your PlayStation Live title will pop in like, hey man, this fight's about to start. Do you want to? You know what? Who's going to take first blood?
We sit here and we talk about how microtransactions they're just like gambling, and Sony's like, what about real gambling? That's where it escalated to.
Yeah, it's concerning.
Everyone was like, "Well, microtransactions what is it going to do, huh?" This is what it's going to do. It's going to open up to a position where it's fucking straight gambling on your console. Unquestionable.
Yep.
Nah, man. Not cool. You know what is cool? Fucking Tony Hawk's Remake. So, this week, on an episode of the Behind Closed Door podcast, the drummer of a band that I personally am a massive fan of, is CKY, said that he believes they're appearing on a new Tony Hawk game. When asked whether the band appeared on one of the previous... How did this person not know this? Yes, they did. When asked whether the band appeared on one of the previous titles, Jess Margera said, this is the drummer, said, quote, yeah, and I believe we're doing the new one coming out too, end quote. Margera then goes on to clarify that he does not mean the recent Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake, referring to it as, quote, the remaster of 1 and 2, end quote. That his son is currently playing on PlayStation 5. CKY's song entitled 96 Quite Bitter Beings, you know that everyone knows the one. Yeah, he knows the riff. Appeared on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 soundtrack.
Now, the guys who worked on Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remake are currently balls deep in Diablo 2.
Yeah, it's true. They're very balls deep. It's pretty heavy riff. It's good.
So, are we getting the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 remaster that we all wanted after the success of 1 and 2, or is that dream kind of dashed because that team is stuck?
No, I do believe that it can happen.
In the Blizzard bandwagon.
No, I believe it can happen. I believe it's outsourcing now. They got Vicarious to come in and build the framework, and they can just skin it. They just skin it and they make the new levels. That's all they got to do. Because it's not going to have a graphical leap between 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So they literally can just put the reskin the bones, and then suddenly you've got a brand new remaster, a brand new remake of old 3 and 4. They don't have to mocap the skaters unless they want to bring in the likes of Bam Margera and stuff. But even then, you don't really want current Bam Margera because he does not look like old Bam Margera. Granted, all the skaters look old, but he looks the most substantially different. He's had a rough go of it over the last 10, 15 years.
Some of which is self-inflicted.
Very self-inflicted, but yeah. So
he looks, just a
in terms of they would have to mocap maybe some new people, but really you could just kind of go they built the framework, they built the foundation. Now just fucking slap new paints on, and anyone can do that. I almost swore. Anyone can do that. So is this possible? Very much so. Would I like to see it? Very much so.
Yeah, very much so. Speaking of things that I would very much like to see, rumor has it that Square Enix has another Final Fantasy game in development exclusively for PlayStation 5, according to a fresh rumor that's been picked up all over the internet. This rumor stems from Navtra, a recent-era insider with seemingly accurate track record. Navtra previously, quote, predicted most of the main reveals for Sony's first PS5 showcase, including the fact that Final Fantasy 16 would be announced as a console exclusive. Navtra writes, quote, I believe you can expect at least one more major Final Fantasy announcement in addition to updates on the currently announced stuff. The post goes on to say that it'll be, quote, a good E3 season for Square Enix overall. I believe we're getting 2 major Square Enix reveals this June, a PlayStation 5 exclusive Final Fantasy title, and a cross-gen IDOS title. Navtra concludes.
I'm sure this has you all.
Okay, so obviously over the last couple of months, they trademarked a bunch of stuff in reference to Final Fantasy stuff. Now, most of those were spin-off Final Fantasy 7 stuff. We know one of them to be that Final Fantasy First Soldier, that mobile battle royale that's coming out. The speculation is this could be the remastered Crisis Core, which is kind of like the prequel to Final Fantasy 7, like a prequel story, which would be awesome. Because obviously we're not gonna get another remaster because they're doing the remake of Final Fantasy 7 still. We already know that Final Fantasy 16 is coming out, so they're not going to give us another major numbered sequel. It makes sense to be a spin-off side series, and the strong contender does seem to be that of a Crisis Core style game.
Now, I know we mentioned Crisis Core. Friend of the show, Paul James, his knees got weak. I could hear the rumble from here. Who hopefully will be joining us next week with Your Way. Was it most returning guest?
Most returning guest.
So I know he is very excited at the idea of a Crisis Core remake.
I'd be super keen.
Yeah.
because obviously that was a PSP title. It'd be nice to come across and give it some love on a proper home console.
So that's a lot of Final Fantasy. We were Intergrade coming at some
so
point,
much Final Fantasy,
and then 16. I think 16's like a year
so
plus
16's
away.
probably a year plus away. We've got Final Fantasy 14 Online's got its expansion coming out at the end of the year in November. That recently just got its PlayStation 5 version.
Yep.
So the Final Fantasy's everywhere currently.
So now I know I shouldn't ask this to the guy who literally has Final Fantasy tatted on his arm, but is there a upper threshold? Is there a saturation point for you, Max? And
it depends. So no, I it's funny. So I fell off Final Fantasy at 13. 13 really did me dirty, in my opinion, and from memory, it did a lot of people dirty. And then they did 13.2, kind of fixed a few of the issues.
That's the PS3 one, yeah.
Yeah.
With the
kind of the female protagonist.
Yeah,
Lightning.
that's right. Yeah.
Fixed a lot of issues that the first one had. I still couldn't get into it. And then they 15 won me back with the change of gameplay style. It kind of refreshed, reinvigorated what the franchise was. Now, obviously, a lot of people didn't like that. There are times where I miss my old turn-based Final Fantasy RPGs, but with the release of Final Fantasy VII remastered or remake, it's kind of grown on me. That more action style gameplay has really won me over, I think.
Yeah, well, everyone knows. I'd like to think you all know my stance on Final Fantasy. Like, I still not finished 7 remake. Like, what I got up to like that Colosseum.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, you get is it a Colosseum?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I got up to, and that's the last thing I did. And I kind of debate going back, and because I know that you're
just wait for Intergrade now.
Yeah,
just wait for Intergrade.
Just wait. As long as the save transfers, then I'm all right. I don't know what a Yiffy is or whatever her fucking name is. I don't know.
Yuffie.
Whatever.
Yiffy. This guy.
She's just part of the furry community or something. So I don't know. But I'm sure people are really excited, and I know I'm glad that you are excited.
I'm super keen.
Because like that's the thing, because especially as we look towards E3, which is 2 weeks away at this point.
Yeah, so we do have Summer Games Fest coming up right before E3.
Yeah.
Like 2 days prior to E3.
The thing is, like, with Sony not getting involved, and I talked about this over the last couple of years, my interest in E3 as a thing is minimal. Like granted, the third parties could do something cool, and I'm very intrigued, knowing that, like, Xbox and Bethesda are essentially coming together to make something, which is awesome, because Bethesda only ever had one good conference, and the rest were kind of bum.
Yeah.
So to bring them together is a good way for them to still be there as that separate entity, quote unquote, while still having a presence.
So, spoilers for a later QUICKBITS news article. PlayStation have partnered with the Summer Games Fest.
Oh, good. No.
2 days prior to E3, they're like, yeah, we'll be there.
Which at least means I'll be excited for the Summer Games Fest. I'm not excited for E3. And I just, it's like, yeah.
I mean, it's funny because, like, I'm on the fence because obviously Square Enix is going to be there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the point I was getting at,
fan. So
the point I was getting at, like, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm happy to know that you can be excited by E3 at least.
Yeah. Like I'll still watch all the.
I'll still watch them.
Presentations.
Don't
Like,
get me wrong.
I can't wait to see what new Fire Emblem character is going to be in Smash Bros. When Nintendo do their
prick with a sword. But look, everyone knows the best part of E3 isn't E3. It's Devolver Digital's press conference. And it looks like the indie heavyweight Devolver Digital has once again got very big plans for next month's Summer Game Fest. As the publisher tweets out, it has, quote, 4 new games to reveal during its digital showcase. These 4 announcements will be coupled with updates from other upcoming titles, including Shadow Warrior 3, which has been confirmed for the PlayStation 4. The full tweet reads, quote, shaping up to reveal 4 new games during hashtag Summer Game Fest this year, along with updates on Phantom, Abyss, Death's Door, and Shadow Warrior 3. So all I can hope is, because the one thing that's come out and that's been consistently kind of funny is Devolver Digital's conference. It's always batshit dumb. And I hope they can come through with it again this year. I don't always care about the games they announce, but I always enjoy the conference.
Yeah.
So, like, What do you is Square Enix the thing that you are like with Devolver in that list as well? What like is Square Enix the thing that's getting you most excited heading into E3? Like we'll do a pulse check next week and see where we're at. But.
So I'm trying to remember who's like put their hands up. And
well, in terms of conferences, we would like Square Enix will have something. EA are doing something separate. Ubi are
doing their forward at the end of the month.
Yeah, they're doing something, but not kind of in 3, but not in 3. Xbox, Microsoft are certainly there with Bethesda. And outside, like in terms of the standard 5/6 conferences that are done, that's pretty much all parties.
Yeah.
And any other major person would get involved in another person.
Yeah, because generally the Bandai Namco stuff
just appears where it's needed.
I enjoy their stuff, and they can appear anywhere. They'll party with
like
Xbox,
Take-Two goes anywhere.
Yeah,
2K goes anywhere. Sorry,
Square
around.
obviously I know generally always look forward to, and I'm always like when's that next Final Fantasy gonna come out? So hopefully we will see more of 16, which is the PlayStation.
Do you want to do some predictions next week?
I'm not here next week, mate.
Fuck.
I can send them in to you.
Yeah,
you can read them on my behalf.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can do that.
Yeah.
I have a think.
We'll have a look about it and we'll see how it's going down and see whether we should predict.
Although, in saying that, I'm pretty sure E3's the weekend after I actually get back. So it would work anyway.
Yeah, but okay. Okay.
But it's up to you. If you want to do it next week, that's fine. I can mail
we'll look
money.
We'll look at the time. And we'll look at the time and see whether we can lay down some predictions. And we'll get Padgett on it too for funsies. See how we go. Because that it is one of the best parts is predicting what happens going to happen at E3. And then now that I have no actual stake in it, because I don't care what PlayStation aren't there really doing anything, I would love to negotiate that thing because there's a trophy that we get involved with.
Sounds good. Housemarque, Ryan. Marketing director Michael Haveri claims the studio wants to rid itself of the idea that it's just the Reso-gun studio by continuing to create bigger titles in the same vein as Returnal. Haveri says the team still loves those arcadey games it has made in the past, Dead Nation, Next Machina, all those. But now certainly seems to be the right time to go big. Courtesy of Game Reactor, the quote reads, quote, "Yes, we've been working on 2 projects previously, and now with Returnal, we have, of course, only 1 project. It's hard to say if we will continue with 1 or 2 projects in the future, but the idea of us now being able to establish ourselves with Returnal will be defining the future type of titles we want to make. The idea is that we now want to show we're not just a, quote, Reso-gun studio. We can do all kinds of things, and from our studio's perspective, that means that we want to go for these bigger types of experiences." Haveri doesn't completely rule out the idea of Housemarque returning to smaller style titles it has made in the past, but for now it really wants to grow in the stature of off the back of Returnal. Quote, "Now we still love arcade, we still love smaller games as well. Who knows, maybe 26 years in the future we'll do more of that as well. But that really depends on how successful we are able to build ourselves with the types of experiences that Returnal now is representing." It's a good shift because in the past they've been known to say that arcade is dead, which kind of
they've gone on the record of saying
that kind of pushed them in this direction. Now we know that we're working on a battle royale. At one point,
it was called Stormbreakers. Stormbreakers, Stormdivers. Stormbreaker or Stormdivers, one of the two. And it never saw the light of day. So they have in the past attempted to escape the Reso-gun, the arcade stigma, because the problem that they had is they were working in a market with they made high quality arcade, quote unquote, arcade games.
Yeah.
However, the people, most people aren't willing to pay that much money for an arcade game. Same goes for Returnal. Returnal is kind of an arcade game, especially in its heart. With this whole shoot 'em up, sort of bullet hell kind of style. Mm-hmm. They are taking a lot of what worked in their old games and bringing it here. So I think what they've learned is they learned they can keep that fundamental arcade feel, but in a bigger, more robust experience. So it would make complete sense that they would want to go down that path, and especially if they do have that working relationship with PlayStation again. So apparently, sort of, Sony kind of let them go wherever they wanted, but then was also a big part. Excuse me. perpetual of sort of going in and being like, hey, can you guys throw a story in this? I think you guys should do this. You should go try that. So they did have a hand in making Returnal what it is.
Yeah.
Not saying that whether that be good or bad, that's up to you, I believe. That's up to however you interpret it all. But, you know, to me personally, I'm not feeling the story of Returnal because I'm not getting any progression. I'm not getting any more story because the game's just punching me in the asshole. So, like, the story could be fantastic, but I ain't seen it.
Yeah.
So, and that's not me saying that they should stop making these kind of games because obviously people love these games. Like the fervor around Returnal has been positive, almost, and a lot negative too, especially like me. It was like, I'm gonna kill myself. But I think if they can create these higher level arcade-esque games, they will please the people that like old Housemarque. Yeah. It opens the door to new Housemarque players. And I think it is probably the better decision as compared to the idea of Stormdivers, which was that was so tonally different. I think they will likely they want to be the Reso-gun studio, but they want, I think, if they try to step out of that too much of what they are legitimately good at making,
yeah,
I think then they will be able to break that moniker. And instead they're now the team that made Returnal. Like, I think Reso-gun was cool, and Reso-gun was a complete standout on the PlayStation 4. But, you know, time changes things, and I'm pretty sure they will now be the Returnal studio until they make the next thing. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the head, I think.
Sweet. Easy. Done. Timesplitters. Timesplitters is officially finally making its great return, Max, after the IP was procured by Koch Media, whatever the one. The idea of the beloved FPS franchise coming back from the dead was suddenly a real possibility. Now, in a new announcement from publisher Deep Silver, a new entry in the series is officially underway. In a statement shared on social media, Deep Silver confirms the exciting news that it has re-established free radical design in order to revive Timesplitters. Quote, "You asked and we listened. We have been working on plans to bring back the Timesplitters, to bring the Timesplitters franchise back to life, and we are pleased to let you know that we are setting up a new Deep Silver dev studio to do just that. Free Radical Design is reforming, and we will be headed up by by industry and Timesplitters veterans Steve Ellis and David Doak. This is an exciting first step in the process. Development on a new game has not yet started, and we will update you when we have more news to share." Now, I've never played Timesplitters. I've heard nothing but good things. I can remember the PS2 cover, like this dude doing this, and that's about it. Yeah. But I know people that swear by this game. But this to me, I think this brings back a larger question, Max. Right now, especially post-pandemic, where financial security isn't a thing, do you think that we are going to see more remakes and returns like this because they are financially a better decision?
Yes, I think so.
Well, I know this adds to the old, should we have remakes and reboots conversation, but I think this is. I think the global pandemic has added.
I think the conversation is fine to have. The issue I have with this is they're like, it's coming back. We have done nothing.
It's like when they announced Skate.
It has, yeah. It's like it's gonna come, but we're just setting up a studio. We're not working on it currently. We're not doing anything with it currently. We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
It's like, do you need to announce it this early?
Yeah.
Like, if you're still just setting up a studio and hiring people to just do this remake now,
presumably remake, maybe a reboot.
The other thing is this one of the 25 IPs that are exclusive to PlayStation that Mr. Ryan keeps singing about?
Could be. Why fuck not? See, the thing for me is, like, I understand it from a business perspective that these are, especially right now,
they're generally safer.
These are safe bets, and what they're essentially doing is they're essentially outlining that, look, hey, something that you love is coming back. We can't say when, but it's something. So, the industry as a whole has always been relatively reliant on reboots and remakes. And I think right now, as I said, the financial instability caused by the pandemic has put it in a position where they're like, well, we need to recoup. And history has shown that we can't. New IPs is a risk. And it's that same thing that Sony have done about them being only AAA, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And even though I disagree with it from a creative perspective, I do think that, as long as they're making a brand new or something bigger and bolder while they're working secondary on something like this, then I don't have an issue with it. Like it's if
they're using this to fund the next thing.
If Naughty Dog are yes, exactly. In like Rockstar, right? Rockstar were always working on whatever the next Grand Theft Auto was. But if you looked previously, so let's say PS2, right? PS2. So they made Grand Theft Auto 3. Brilliant. And then they were working towards Vice City or San Andreas or whatever. But in that time, we got like Midnight Club and we got Bully and we got,
a fantastic table tennis game.
Yeah, that was, the Xbox one. Because they were all ways for them to learn new mechanics, also a way to raise money to then further assist the development of Grand Theft Auto. As long as they're willing to release some other things or use these as that financial backer for something new and cool, yeah, man, fucking go ham. Nostalgia's rad. Like I talked about, how much I fell in love with Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town last year because it's a straight remake of one of my favorite games of all time, right? We just spoke about Tony Hawk and how much we would love to see 3 and 4 come back. 3 and 4 remake, because Tony Hawk as a game, very similar. We don't need a 3 and 4 remake. Literally, we don't need it, but we're gonna get it. If it drops, are we gonna buy it? Yes. Yeah. Like it's just they know that if they release it, they're gonna make some coin, and I think for the minimal development time or development cost, they can recoup enough money to hopefully keep themselves afloat. Yeah. It's kind of where it's at for me. Speaking of new and cool things, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. In the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart State of Play presentation and the conversation that I had with Paul James, it was suggested it was mentioned the PlayStation 5 exclusive will contain a myriad of accessibility options, and these were then later detailed at a later date. These are later details. Don't worry about it. Which a conversation with Paul that we had last week, which once again, big thank you to Paul for sitting down with us and talking about that. They did announce a bunch of accessibility things, but it looks as if Insomniac Games have come out with a literal list.
Yeah, it was a Twitter thread.
Yeah, an exhaustive list, as you've put it here, of optional features to help players in numerous ways. Rift Apart looks to rival. I lost my spot. Rift Apart looks to rival or maybe even outdo The Last of Us Part 2 when it comes to accessibility. In addition to things like inverted controls, aim assist, and a permanent reticle during gameplay, there are some serious neat original features. You'll have the ability to map all traversal mechanics to a single button input, make it so you won't fall off ledges, put various objects on shortcuts for easy access, change certain inputs from buttons, holds to toggles, and much more. One of the things that I loved that Padge talked about was the slowdown mechanic. So if you're doing a platform puzzle and you've got to do a big leap that you have to just time right, with a press of a button that you get to pick, you can slow down time, and then allows you, for someone that may not have the dexterity, to move the right stick to where you need to be so you can make that jump in the right amount of time. This is fantastic. This is brilliant. This is so good. And one of the things that makes me so excited about this, we discussed it last week about how so far PlayStation exclusives have been Demon's Souls and Returnal. 2 games that kick the fuck out of you. And I like that they're going the other direction with Ratchet.
I mean, a lot of studios have done this ever since Last of Us Part 2 released last year. I'm lost. Year before? Last year just disappeared, right?
Last of Us was 2020.
Yeah, okay. Because we got... Obviously, Assassin's Creed Valhalla had
was it 2020?
A crap load of accessibility options.
Yeah.
And now we've got, obviously, like you said, the PlayStation 5 exclusive have been pretty rough since launch with Demon's Souls and Returnal. Obviously, we had Sackboy as well, but...
Oh, yeah.
I don't recall the accessibility options.
But
were
it
for
also
that.
went across the PS4 as well. So in terms of PS5
But,
specific exclusives.
It's really, I think it's fantastic that they're doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
I think this will become a standard generally going forward that most games will have, or most AAA games will have.
Yeah, and I think Sony are, because look, admittedly, Microsoft did have the upper hand when they've got the
They had that controller that basically
they have the adaptive controller, which is brilliant. We have one at work and it is rad. You can literally set it up however you want and it is awesome. So like we met with a gentleman who is missing an arm and a leg, or an arm. I think it's an arm. It was both. It was knee down and his arm or something like that. Either way, he came, he's like, look, hey, I know you guys are a gaming support service. I'm looking at getting this because I want to be able to play games with my son. Do you guys know any information? I said, dude, we have one. Come over to the site. Let's mess about with it, and you guys can help me. Like, I need to learn it, and you guys want to know. So let's go party. So he and I and his son, we booted up Streets of Rage and a bunch of other games, and just kind of like dicked with it until we could find it, like Forza, and just sort of like really tried to suss it out. But like, what I like about this is you can get a relatively similar result without having to buy additional hardware.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Now, granted, like, this is cool as long as the person can hold a controller. And the accessibility controller allows for those that cannot.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that one is not better than the other. They both have different trade-offs.
Yeah.
And it just as someone that works within the support service of disability space, and especially someone that works in using games as a therapeutic healing creation, this is 100% the right direction that the company should be taking.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Outriders, Rome.
Yes.
Square Enix is pitching Outriders as its, quote, next big franchise, as the publisher reveals that more than 3.5 million unique players gave the looter shooter a go during its first month on the market. In a press release, John Brook, co-head of studio at Square Enix External Studios, not international, said, quote, launching a new game IP is never easy, and we remain very grateful for the community's support and feedback. We continue to listen carefully and want to assure everyone that we are committed to improving and enhancing the experience in the coming weeks and months. We also look forward to expanding on Outriders in the future. Average playtime is said to be around 30 hours within its user base, and engagement with cooperative play is very high.
That's awesome. So 3.5 million people over 30 hours played on average. That is a substantial amount of playtime.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and also, they're being very, after the whole issue with loot being deleted and stuff, their update team is being very, like, forward-facing.
Diligent.
They're updating. They're constantly sending out tweets with, "Hey, this is when the patch is going to happen. If the patch gets delayed, I think this latest patch recently got delayed. Basically said this patch was causing a bug, so we're not going to patch it until we can fix this. Might come the next week." So they're doing, they're working really hard to get everything to where it should be. I believe they've restored almost everyone's gear now who had lost gear.
That's good.
They gave them god tier rolls as well, so they've got the best of the best gear now. I hope they stick with it. I really enjoyed the game. I have 2 of the 4 classes at max level. I'd love to see more of
Well,
it.
I discussed how it's like still the only thing that I'm playing this week, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And like, I don't know whether because I'm kind of pushing through the story right now. Right? I don't know whether if there was suddenly DLC that I'd get re-engaged, but like there is enough in the story so far and enough to entice me to want to see more. So, why the hell not, Max?
Why the
hell not? Excuse me. It's been a long weekend. It's been a great weekend, but it's been a very long weekend. And I can tell my voice is getting progressively worse. So that's exciting. Warner Brothers Games. The future of it has been plunged into uncertainty once again as AT&T, its parent company, is unloading its media business as part of a $43 billion merger with cable company Discovery. Warner Brothers Interactive, the gaming division of Warner Media, and its future is the gaming division of Warner Media, and its future remains currently unclear. Quote, some of the gaming arm will stay with AT&T, and some will go with the new company, end quote. A spokesperson told Axios. At this time, it's unclear who will retain ownership of who, but this is likely to cause some various headaches. AT&T had attempted to sell off its games publishing arm entirely last year, but eventually decided to keep it in-house after it couldn't find a buyer willing to pay its asking price. So this is a circumstance of they're like, well, there are some things that they will just keep alive. So like in terms of what will transfer as part of the sale, I'm going to say like Mortal Kombat and the Portkey games.
Well, from what I've seen,
the Batman series.
From what I've seen, apparently AT&T will keep a lot of the DC franchises. So that would mean that Rocksteady would stay with AT&T because they're working on Injustice. Then the other guys who are working on
NetherRealms is the team.
NetherRealms do Injustice and Mortal Kombat. I was thinking of obviously that Justice League, the Suicide Squad game that's coming out, and the
Rocksteady and
Batman,
Warner Brothers Montreal.
Yeah. So but it's a mess. It's a mess because
like what does this mean for Lego?
Yeah,
because Warner Brothers does have their hands in like a bunch of different franchises, but it's one of those circumstances. Like I only imagine there's like so many things they want to keep around. It's kind of piss at everything else.
And obviously you've got the Harry Potter game that got delayed out of this year into next year. They're obviously the last thing they want is to be passed around and. Because as someone that's reliant on 2 fucking Warner Brothers games next year for my draft. Speaking of, let's have a look at these drafts, ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into the quick bits. For those that don't know, at the start of the year, Max and I engaged in a video games draft. So what we would do is we went to the community who gave us a list of 20 games. Each of us were to pick 8 games each. We could not have the same game. And with that 8 list, what we would do is we would look at the Metacritic score, and we'll look at it again at the end of the year in case it changes. We would look at the Metacritic score for PS5 or PS4, whichever one the game was we played it on, in terms of where it was released on. And then we add that all together, divide it by 8. Whoever wins. Whoever gets the highest average. So my list consists of 3 games that are very questionable. 2 of them aren't coming at all. One of them is Hogwarts Legacy, the other being Gotham Knights, and the third being God of War Ragnarok, which we are confident is not coming. So I'm fucked. So instead, I traded Hogwarts Legacy and Gotham Knights for Destruction All-Stars. That way I at least get a score. So Destruction All-Stars is sitting at a 62. So these are where things that are getting exciting. So my list of games as they stand is Horizon Forbidden West, which hasn't got a release date yet, nor is it coming. My second one was Resident Evil Village, which has released, and that's sitting at 84 currently. I have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which comes out in a couple of weeks. Hopefully I can get a good bump out of that one. I think so.
Deathloop, which just had a preview this week and apparently looks pretty cool. The Dark Pictures House of Ashes, which should be pretty cool, or at least a good high average. Mm-hmm. You know, the previous 2 have been pretty good. Like not 10 out of 10s, but they maybe some good 80s. You know what I'm saying? They got God of War Ragnarok. You have 1 game left that hasn't been scored. So let me just drink this water because my throat hurts. All right, this is where you're at, Max. You had Hitman 3. That's your first pick, which I thought was a bold strategy, but turns out it may have been a great strategy because you were sitting at 84 on that one. Far Cry 6 is the one that you're missing. It is yet to come out. Returnal, 86. It Takes Two, 89. Persona 5 Strikers, 84. Nier Replicant, 84. Hood Outlaws and Legends, 64. Number 8, Mass Effect Legendary Edition at 88. So you're sitting around about an average of like 79, 78, 79. I'm seeing an average of 84, 62, and then 2 zeros. So, not well. I have to blow my nose apparently, but
Yeah, hopefully Far Cry 6 does actually launch this year.
well, yeah, and then cool, you have one. So I'm just gonna blow my nose quickly.
Yeah, you
As
go.
Max gets into
You
the
go.
quick
I'll do the quick bits because most of these are targeted towards me anyway.
bits.
I will kick things off with Lies of P. So this is a Pinocchio-inspired Souls-like game, which is coming to PlayStation 5. There is no release date yet, but an announcement trailer is currently up online. It looks awesome. It basically looks like Bloodborne, but you're playing as Pinocchio and you're trying to find Mr. Geppetto. It looks great. And there's like, the premise is like, you know, every time you lie, your nose grows and it'll change the way the story unfolds. Sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds right up my alley. Last of Us 2 patch adds 60 FPS options for PlayStation 5. The PlayStation has confirmed for Summer Games Fest, which kicks off 2 days before E3 on the 10th of June.
So they haven't specified what level of involvement they're having, so it could be something, it could be nothing.
GTA 5 is coming to the PlayStation 5 on the 11th of November.
Has that been officially announced, or is that heavily rumored?
No. The standalone GTA Online will be free for PlayStation 5 users for the first 3 months. GTA 3 turned 20 this year. Rockstar has some, quote, fun surprises in the works.
Liberty City in GTA 5 Online?
Who knows? Probably.
Yeah, probably. Are you sure that news is 100%?
Pretty sure.
I thought that was rumory. Could be entirely wrong though.
Could be. Take it with a grain of salt.
So Kilobyte adds in regards to WB Montreal. They add, bear in mind you have to consider the future of Avalanche Games, Just Cause, Monolith Productions, which are the Middle Earth series. There's quite a lot of franchises being affected, very, very much so, and they're ones that we just didn't right off the top of our head. So like, there's 100% a concern.
Yeah.
But here are the top 10 best-selling games for the week ending the 16th of May 2021. They are as follows. Number 10, UFC 4. Number 9, Mortal Kombat 10. Number 8, It Takes Two. Number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 6, Subnautica Below Zero. Number 5, NBA 2K21. Number 4, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 3, FIFA 21. I think it looks like 18.
It's definitely 21.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's because there's the fucking weird FIFA logo at the end that looks like an 8 that throws me every time. Number 2, Resident Evil Village. And number 1, unsurprisingly, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Now, did you jump on the Mass Effect?
No.
Are you going to?
Maybe. I've never played them, so
me either.
Might be time to jump in to get classic BioWare. Just a public service announcement. I know this PlayStation show. NBA 2K21 is currently free on the Epic Games Store.
Oh, shit, really? Yeah. Oh, and I missed a quick bit that'll make my son very happy. There is a PJ Masks game coming out in October. He will be very, very excited after playing Paw Patrol last year, and now he's in love with PJ Masks right now.
If you're adding that, Peppa Pig is also coming to PlayStation
I did
4.
see that too. Are you a Peppa Pig household? No. We're an incredibly anti Peppa Pig household, so they's not fucking playing here in this household.
Upcoming titles for this week, we have Biomutant coming PlayStation 4 May 25th.
Much anticipated by
Capcom Arcade Stadium PS4 May 25th.
I cannot confirm how anticipated that one was.
King of Seas PS4 May 25th. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster, what a mouthful, PlayStation 4 May 25th.
That sounds like a maximum I've ever heard one.
Yeah. Super Bomberman R Online PS4 May 27th. That's Max written all over it. I'm super keen. Love Bomberman. So glad it's coming off a Nintendo console. Lastly,
was this one that was the Switch exclusive for the early days?
I think so.
Oh shit.
Bomberman's always been on Nintendo. And lastly, Wonder Boy Asher in Monster World PlayStation 4 May 28th.
Not based on the Tenacious D song Wonder Boy.
No, and not the Wonder Boy that is one of my favorite games of all time.
What?
It's
a different Wonder Boy?
Yeah, there's so many Wonder Boys. I just want Wonder Boy in Monster World.
Oh, okay.
That's all I want. I want a remake of that.
But this is Wonder Boy Asher in Monster World.
It's like the first game I ever finished. I was on Sega Mega Drive. I was like 8 years old.
Oh,
best game ever. I go back from time to time and play it.
Well, we got an email recently about, because there's because I saw there's a PR email about ghouls and goblins or whatever. Apparently that's coming. Yeah, like I know it's coming to PlayStation, and there was like, isn't that an oldie game?
Yeah, so there was
And it's like
Ghouls
it
and
kicks your
Ghosts and
bumhole.
Super
Yeah.
Ghosts and Goblins, and
Just kick your
they're all
asshole.
yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm playing Returnal right now, man. I have no interest in this fucking game.
At least it's just a 2D side scroller.
That's true.
You don't have
Still
to
very
like
relevant.
3-dimensionally dodge bullets.
And
You
just,
just
oh,
gotta-
cool. I'm glad that I can get really mad in one less dimension.
one less dimension.
Big thank you,
I mean,
everyone.
that is a big difference.
That is true. It's a substantial difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big thank you, everyone, for joining us for the show this week. I apologize. I sound like a moron. But next week, we will be back. Max will be away. He will be off gallivanting.
Yeah, I got a stag do.
Stag do.
Sydney.
So I presume he's duct taping someone to a pole naked. Probably some strippers and maybe some hangover-inspired shenanigans. Look, my stag do was me literally sitting in my house with my friends drinking.
I pub crawled through Melbourne
Yeah.
and then caught a very drunk train home.
Yeah, I didn't do anything fancy at all. Like, I had a very low-key one.
Yeah, I went to Crown. I watched my best mate lose a lot of money. I won a lot of money, and then we went pub crawling. It was great.
Nice, very nice. I don't think I was invited, you piece of shit. I think we're friends then.
I was still friends with your wife at that point.
So she probably got invited.
Good times.
Anyways, Max, you know what to do. Let's send this bastard home.
Well, everyone, this PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to join part in future conversations with us, come check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures where you can watch us record this show live. We can get in the chat and become part of the show. For fun, for those playing home, we usually record live on a Saturday. It's 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Today was Sunday. Yeah. We never specify that, but there you go. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are on the podcast service, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you are on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And look, more cool shit's coming to the YouTubes, man. It's if you listen to us on the pods, check out the YouTubes. Actually, but I'll put everything cool on the pods as well. You know what? Just go to both. It's fine. We appreciate the love on both. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopcultures, as well as our merchandise store, popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit without logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players. My voice hurts.